Well, hello! Today's lesson is going to be all about how to do animations in AFrame. So let's just review what we've learned so far. What we've learned so far is how to make different kinds of 3D shapes, how to position them, how to rotate them, and how to add materials to make them look a little bit more realistic. The last thing we want to do is start adding in some movement. Let's get these things go around, do cool things, go up and down, left, right, side to side, all of that. And all we need to do is understand a new property called animation. So without further ado, I'm going to show you two examples today. And the first one's very straightforward. I'm just going to show you how to make these three shapes move. We're going to make this box go left and right. We're going to make this cylinder go up and down. And then we're going to make this circle go like forward and back. And that's it. We're going to show you how to do those three things. And then we'll do something a little bit more complicated. Not too much. Don't you worry. So the first thing I want to do is I want to make this box go left and right. Let me show you how that's done. What we have to do here is just add after color, but you could do it anywhere, any of these properties. We're going to say animation equals, and what we're going to say is what we want to animate. Now, we could animate any of these properties. We could animate the position, the rotation, or color. Those are all available to be animated. So we can make it so like the thing changes color or the thing starts rotating around. But what we're really going to be doing today is messing with rotation. Not rotation, with position. So what I want to do is first I want to say what property we're going to animate, and we're going to tell the computer that we want to do the position of this box. All right. Now if I press play, nothing happens because we have to say where we want this box to go. All right. Right now it's at -1, 0.5, -3. If we animate it, what direction is it going? What's it doing? So we have to say where we want to go to. So I do semicolon 2. Now what I'm going to do here is give it the new position where it's going to end up after the end of the animation. So since I want to go left and right, what that is the X number. So since right now it's at -1, I want to go all the way over here, let's say. That's like 3. So I want to go to 3, but I want to stay the same height and the same depth. So let's just keep those other two numbers the same. So 0.5, -3. Notice how those, I'm not going to change those. And if I press run, whoop! You guys see that? Is that thing animating? It sure is. So you see how it moved to the right? It changed its X position from -1 to 3, and it kept the other two numbers. Now that's great and grand, but I want to show you a few more things we could do here because that's it. Like it ends, it's done. That's not great. So what we can do is we can make it loop so it keeps replaying it. So what we can do is say this, loop true. And now if I do this, you'll see it keeps repeating. So it's looping forever and ever and ever. But that's kind of ugly, right? Because it kind of just like restarts. It doesn't look very realistic. Things in real life don't like animate and then like, transport themselves back to where they started. So to give it a little bit of a nicer like real world effect, what we want to say is this, dir, which is short for direction. And we want that direction to alternate. And what that means, it alternates from going the normal way to the reverse way, back and forth. So if I do this, you can see that looks a little bit more natural, right? Because it's alternating the direction. And the last thing I want to show you, because we've done 4 so far, we've done like the property, the position, where we want to go to. We want the loop to be true, and we want to go back and forth using the direction alternate. The last thing you can do is mess with the duration, which is how long the animation's left. By default, it lasts 1 second, which is the same as 1,000 milliseconds. All right, 1,000 milli is 1,000. So this thing lasts for 1,000 milliseconds. So if I press play right now, nothing changes because it's the same time. What I could do is slow it down. So now I could say I want this animation to take 5 seconds or 5,000 milliseconds. So if you look here now, it's going much slower, right? Because this thing is taking 5 seconds to complete. Or I can make it go super fast. I can set it to 100. That's 1/10 of a second. Ooh. And you can see that's another element that we can mess with. But let's just leave it here at 2,000. So that's good. We got it going left and right. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to copy and paste this. And for the cylinder, I told you I want to go up and down. So I'm just going to copy and paste all this animation. We're still animating the position. I still want it to loop. I still want it to go up and down, so I'm going to alternate. And let's keep this at 2 seconds. But since I want this to go up and down, the one thing I want to change here is the Y number, right? So I want the x to stay the same. So I still want the position to be 1, which is the starting number, and I still want the depth to be -3. Those aren't going to change. But I do want to go from 0.75, and let's just move it up to like 4. Yeah, 5. So what I'm doing is I'm changing the y position to 0.75 to 5. See how the x and the y are still the same as the starting numbers, but the y number is increasing. So now if I press this one, notice how it's going up and down. And we could do the same thing for this sphere right here. So now for the sphere, what I'm going to do is the following. Let's see here. I'm going to start with the original. So for 2, keep in mind, I'm just keeping the same position. So 0, 1.25, -5. But I want the sphere to kind of come towards me and then away from me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it go from -5 to 0. X and Y stay the same, but you'll see now the circle is going to come towards my face and go back away. So see? Whoa! And that's how we do an animation. All right, so that was the first example. I have one more example I wanted to show you. So let me go back in time for a second. And what here is a balloon animation. In fact, I should just change this to balloons, but whatever. So if you'll see here, I have a balloon. All right. Now, what I'm showing you is a very simple example, but let's say you made like a VR car, right? And a car has a lot of components. It has like the front and the wheels and the windshield and all that. It would be really annoying to have to animate each one of those things individually. So what we can do is animate multiple things by putting them in something called an A entity. So if I want this balloon to animate, I could animate each individual piece. Or the easy way to do it is to create an A entity around it. So I'm going to take the opening and the closing tag. And you see how I put that around the two shapes that make the balloon. So the sphere and the cylinder, they both have that A entity wrapped around it. So starting, closing. And what I'm going to do is all I'm going to do is animate the entity. Not each individual thing, but the whole entity itself. So let's see, I didn't keep my animation. So I'm going to do this. Animation equals. We're going to say we want the property that we're going to animate is the position. And what we're going to do here is, let's see here, we're going to make it go 2. And since I want to go up, all I'm going to say is this, 0, 10, 0. So the x and y stay the same, 0 and 0, but it will go up by 10. So check this out. It went up pretty quickly, but you could see that. Hold on, let's do this again. Well, it went up. Here, let's change the duration so it goes a little bit slower. So if we look here, you can see that the balloon is now rising. So that's the second part of today's lesson. Remember, we want multiple shapes that all go in that same direction. We use something called an entity. And that's it. So I got nothing else to say. That's the whole lesson. So now you know how to animate it. I do want to say, I want to push you guys. Try figuring out how to make things rotate. That would be interesting. But that's it. Good luck and start your lab. Do it at the end of class. Peace.